Today, we're going to build a rudder pedal pivot block. A couple of days ago, somebody had posted a question about how to build these blocks on sonexpilots.org. This is something I have to do in the next couple of steps anyhow, so I thought I'd go ahead and just build these today. Alright, so here's what one of the rudder pedal assemblies looks like for the Sonex. You can see there's a big gap between the two, and this side has an extra bar kind of sticking out. The way this works is you have two identical parts, so I have two rudder pedal sets here, and we're going to take one of these two and flip it over, and it's going to sit just a little bit apart from one another. So if I push on one of these rudder pedals, you can see that both of the right ones move together and both of the left ones move together. And then we have this rudder pedal pivot block here that goes on the very end of this, and it bolts these two together so that each of these rudder pedals can rotate along this block, which is made out of phenolic material here. You're going to have one on one side and a second one on the other side. Now, I've already built one of these. Today we're going to build a second one because you need two. So we're going to make this part out of phenolic block. This came with the kit. It's 3/4 of an inch thick. Those dimensions are 1 inch by 3.5 inches. So we're going to basically cut a strip that's 1 inch wide across here with the bandsaw, and then cut 3.5 and 3.5 to get those two parts out of here. And then the next thing we're going to do is stack those two on top of each other. It'll look kind of like this before the holes are drilled, but we'll stack those on top of each other and drill holes right through here. Those holes are going to be 3/16 of an inch to accommodate an AN3 bolt that goes through that. And then once that's all kind of bolted together and everything's in the spots where they need to be, and then I'm going to take that whole part and put it face down like this into my vise on my drill press. We're going to use a Forstner bit to drill these two 1-inch holes with very tight tolerances where they need to go. Alright, just to try and make sure that these things stay centered against each other, the two parts here, I'm going to grab a little piece of leftover 1-inch tube that I cut off of my aileron control tube, just to kind of keep that centered there. So it's got a 1-inch outside diameter on this guy. I'm just going to shove it here into the middle of that to hold it centered. And then I'll put my other one over the top of this, just to make sure that that hole is centered here. And then I'm going to use a C-clamp to hold it all together. Okay, so it's centered there. And then I'm going to go ahead and use my press here to make sure that it drills down directly into the center of this, using the first one that I built as a guide. And the only reason for that is if I make this hole slightly wider than the other, or if it's kind of, you know, offset one direction or another from the other one, when I line them up side to side, I might get a little bit of binding if this one's a little bit farther apart, a little closer together. Now it's a, you know, a 40-inch distance between the two where they'll be sitting, so it probably won't be that big of a deal. But you know, make it as precise as you can, and the best way to do that is to use your first one as a template for the second one. And that should do it. Alright, so that should be nicely centered now. I'm just going to go ahead and continue drilling through this now that I've got it where I want it. Alright, that came out pretty much perfectly centered. I've got two of these 1-inch things in here now. So, kind of nice. Alright, then the last thing to do, one of these, my first one, was slightly more than 3.5 inches. I think it's like 3.53 or something like that. So I'm just going to go ahead and sand down the ends here so they're all equal on both sides. Not necessary, but you know, make it look a little prettier, I guess. Alright, so I've got arrows pointing up so I know which side were sized together. A and B with one side. So when I go to put these on the airplane, it'll go like this. And then the opposite side I put two arrows so that I know where to match them up if I pull these apart. And I should be able to just line that up on the airplane when I'm ready to go. It says here to chamfer the edge of the holes in the pivot blocks as required to clear the welds on the rudder pedals. So right here, the block fits between this and this to keep it from sliding side to side. But this hole, even though I cut the blocks at exactly 1 inch, this might be slightly off. It's welded, so there's going to be some imperfections in it. And so I chamfered the inside edge of that block here, so right around this edge here, to try and make it fit a little bit better inside of there. Well, that's how you make these rudder pedal pivot blocks, and hopefully you found this one worthwhile. If you've enjoyed watching this video and you haven't subscribed already, please consider doing so, and we'll see you on the next one. Take it easy.